The movie was eventually released as an NFT. Like, honestly, the life of this movie has been so crazed and bizarre of everything I've ever done and stuff. But yet, we made more on this movie when we sold it to the company that released it as an NFT than I've made ever selling a movie. I made more selling this movie than when I sold fucking Clerks. It was crazy. We just got very lucky. David found this company, Legendow, that was just like, we want to test our blockchain, and we feel the best way to do it is if we release a movie. It would be the first in history and stuff, and it would prove that you can't pirate, you can't break into the blockchain and shit. So they bought it kind of as an example of what their technology could do, and paid us like criminally. Like, it was nuts. I like, it's telling tales out of school. I probably shouldn't. We tried to sell the movie to Shudder, you know, the horror network, and we tried to sell it to them, no bullshit, for 20 grand. Like, hey man, you licensed the movie for 20 grand, run on a Shutter. And they were like, no, it's not good enough. They told us we weren't good enough for Shutter, man. And that would have been like 20 grand, and that would have been that. And then David hooked up a deal where we made far, far, far more. I mean, it was like the chances of that happening ever again, you know, it was just a confluence of events where they needed to showcase their technology, and we were willing to let a whole movie go to the NFT. A lot of filmmakers wouldn't do that because they're like, hey man, I want this movie to be seen by as many people as possible. Blockchain, crypto, NFTs, you know, the audience for that is way smaller than a mainstream audience. But at the end of the day, in a world where Shudder didn't give a fuck about it and shit, we couldn't even find a home for 20K. But then these cats gave it. David's looking at me. He's like, don't say anything. A lot of fucking money. It was like, you know, it was very clear. It was also the sense of adventure of like, oh, nobody's ever done this before. Nobody's ever released a movie as an NFT. Let's try it and stuff. So it worked out for the movie, but I took a lot of shit online from people that don't like crypto and NFTs. Like, ew, you're fucking playing with NFTs and shit like that. So it came with a bit of that. But my God, it was so great for our movie and shit. What a great business model. I wish every one of the flicks could work out the way that Killroy did. But yes, to answer the question, it was an NFT. Yes. Very easy, man. Ralph's a ham. So like, you know, anytime I'm doing a thing, I'm just like, hey, can you come out? And he's just like, what? Who am I molesting this time? I always put him in roles and shit where finally I let him speak though. Like in Yoga Hosers, he had like a big scene at the end where he was the villain in the third act. But I had him in Red State prior to that, and he played a silent character, which I thought made him more menacing. But Ralph was just like, what, you don't think I can handle dialogue? And I was like, no, but it's cooler if you say nothing and shit. Like, trust Silent Bob. It's cooler if you say nothing. But I love him to death, man. There's a bunch of people that I always kind of bring in on stuff, and he's one of those people I'll always make art with. Anyone else, kids? Pictures next. Yes, right there. What was it like directing Tusk? I was very high. I directed that movie as I wrote that movie, stoned as fuck. But it was great. It was a blissful experience. I had taken off 3 years. So the movie I had made before Tusk was Red State. And then after Red State, I got it in my head where I was like, I'm going to retire. Fuck this. Steven Soderbergh was talking about retiring. I was like, we can do that? That's a thing? Like, oh shit, then I'm retiring. And I took 3 years off, and then we did a podcast where we built Tusk by accident, me and Scott Mosier, and started telling the story. And then it became what Tusk was. And on the podcast, you could literally hear me go like, you know what? Fucking copyright Kevin Scott. Like, I start to realize it's a good idea. We start just making up this fucking story based on a thing that we read online. There was a Craigslist type ad in a UK website called Gumtree where you looked for living arrangements and shit like that. And so somebody, this guy was Chris Parkinson, who was a little prankster over in England, woke up one morning. He said, I'm going to fuck with the world. And he wrote this listing and put it up on Gumtree that said he had a mansion that you could come live in for free. You have the run of the house except for 2 rooms you couldn't go in, his bedroom and his workshop. In exchange for this, for 2 hours every day, you would put on a very realistic walrus costume and he would throw you fish. And he told the story about how a walrus had like saved his life and stuff. And so now he needs that interaction. And so we were like, it turned out to be a prank. We didn't know it when we first read it on the podcast. We were like, this is fucked up. And the amazing thing was, like, the guy said he had 300 people write to him to be like, I'll do it. Like 300 people were like, I'll just like a walrus for 2 hours a day. Fuck. So we started talking about that. And I'm talking about, you don't want to do this. You show up, he's going to fucking knock you over the head. You're going to be the human walrus, man, and shit like that. And we start building this cheesy fucking horror movie predicated on the story that we read. And we're having a blast doing it, and you hear us fucking cracking up. And then you hear me get serious about it, where I'm like, this would be a badass movie. Where are all the brave fucking filmmakers to make this man to walrus transformation movie? And then I remembered I used to be a brave filmmaker. And I was like, you know what? Fucking, why am I asking somebody else to do this? Why am I encouraging some fucking kid to pick this up? I was like, I should do this. Like, clearly I'm way into this idea. And so I wrote it. I started writing it and followed through. And I said to the internet, like on Twitter, I was like, hey, you heard the podcast. I'm really thinking about writing this and making this movie. If you think it's a good idea, hashtag walrus yes. If you think it's a bad idea, hashtag walrus no. And you should never let the internet decide your fate and shit. But I gave it a shot. And the next morning, it was a sea of walrus yes. One walrus no. And the walrus no guy said, I'm really walrus yes, but I'm saying walrus no to support the democratic process. So right then and there, I was like, they don't want me to do it. It must be a good idea. And so I started writing it, and I had a fucking blast writing it and shit. I could not believe we found money for that, man. But what had happened was the script got out there into the world. And there was a guy named Sam Engelbart, who ran the company that, what was the name of the company that fucking made Tusk? I forget the name of his production company. But he called me up. He goes, are you Kevin Smith? I said, yeah. He goes, did you write a movie called Tusk? And I was like, that depends. Am I in trouble? And he was like, no, I want to talk to you about it. I was like, all right, come over to my house. I'm here tonight and shit. Dude came over to my house. Demarest, that was the name of the company. So Sam Engelbart comes over and he has the script and he goes, I just want to tell you that I read this script from cover to cover. And I think this is the dumbest thing I've ever read in my life. He's going, but it really holds together. And I think you could do it. He's going, so we have a slush fund in our office. Generally, they were a finishing finance company. So let's say you were making a movie for $60 million and then suddenly you ran shy of $5 million. They come in at the end with that additional $5 million. Their last money in, first money out. So he goes, normally we don't spend money on movies like this. We come into movies that are already in production. He's gone, but when I read this, he's gone, I just couldn't put it down. He's going, how much do you think you could make this for? And I was like, I think it's like a $3 million movie. And he goes, okay, we have a $3 million slush fund in our office that we keep around in case of emergency or for fucking lunch. So I would like to offer you $3 million to make this movie. And I was like, why the fuck would you want to make this movie? Like, it's the fact that you want to finance this makes me suspect of you. And he had the best fucking answer in the world. I've never encountered it before. I've never encountered it since, and I'll take it with me to the grave. He goes, I just want to see if you can do it. He's like, that is such a fucked up script. He's going, but it holds together. If you pull it off, it could be amazing and shit. And I was like, let's do it. So he financed it, man. We went off and made the weirdest fucking movie I ever made. Making it was absolute bliss, God bless you, because I'd taken 3 years off. And so this is the first time back on set. So I was like the aforementioned film school kids, man. When I got there, I was like, every take was wonderful, man. Everything, that 3 years off, like, you got to remember, I was coming off of Cop Out, working with Bruce Willis, and that was a really tough experience. And then I went to Red State, which was great. But then after that, I was like, I'm done with this shit, man. Being back on Tusk reinvigorated me. I was like, oh my God, man. Yes, this is just, we're making pretend. This is as crazy and childish as it gets, but it's acting on its own accord. It's pretending or purporting to a maturity that it really doesn't fucking have. What I love about Tusk is we played it as serious as Argo. Like, everyone is playing it so fucking serious, like we could win an Academy Award or something like that. And because of that earnestness, it just works the way it does. Like, I love that movie to death. And what I love about it is kids love it. you know, most of the people I make movies for are my age, right? So people who grew up with me and Jay and Silent Bob and shit like that. But Tusk is a young person's movie, and I only know that because of the last few years of my life. Like when the movie came out, critics shit on it. People were like, what the fuck is this? He's lost it. He's smoking way too much weed and shit. And I got chastised, and I was like, oh, fucking maybe I did wrong. But then I started meeting art school kids. That's who changed it for me. They're like, you made Tusk? It's one of my favorite fucking movies in the world. And that was coming from an 18-year-old. And that's currency, man. I was like, really? Fucking you like that movie? Like, oh, it's fucking ballsy, man. Nobody should have made that. And that makes you feel like fucking metal and shit like that. So yeah, I just went into like, what was it? I guess it was where was it? Pico Rivera. So I was with my kid, and my kid was like, hey man, can we stop at a weed store? And I was like, yeah, there's fucking one that's not far. Pico Rivera is where our warehouse is, where I sign all our merchandise and shit. So I was like, there's a weed store not far from here. So me and the kid go to the weed store and walk in, and there's a dude behind the counter who's like maybe 10 years younger than me. So I walk in, and instantly he's like, no fucking way, man. Silent Bob at a weed store? Oh my God. And he's going fucking nuts and shit like that. Then a girl comes out, and she's younger. She's like your age, and she comes out from the back and shit. And she's looking at him, and she's like, you're being cringe. He goes, you don't fucking know who this is? Do you know who this is? And she looks at him, she's like, I don't. And he goes, it's fucking Silent Bob. And she's still like, I don't know what that is. And he goes, you don't fucking know Silent Bob? He goes, these fucking kids. He goes, watch this. Tusk. And she goes, she's like, you made Tusk? I was like, yeah. She goes, that's fine. I was like, thank you. You never know, man. It's like in the moment that movie came out, everyone shit on it, and I was made to feel like you were wrong for making this movie. How dare you? Bad filmmaker and shit. And then 1 year later, it finds its audience. And now we're about 10 years out from Tusk. This is the 10th anniversary. It has a legion of fans. I'm not going to say like the whole world's changed their mind. There's a bunch of people who will never fuck with that movie. But the people that do fuck with it, fucking fuck with it hard. And it makes me feel like fucking young and vital. Relevancy that's what every artist is chasing, man. And making that movie, I never thought it would be relevant. I thought it was relevant only to me. Like, this is me just doing it for me. I'm masturbatory filmmaking here. But it was relevant to somebody else, man, and carried and shit. And to the point where, like, it's always someone like you, somebody young, somebody with their whole life ahead of them who's like, tell me why Tusk happened so I can avoid that. All right, we're going to take pictures, kids. And thank you. You're very sweet. Just to let you know how we can do this as a time as we can spare as much time for everybody as possible. I'm going to be in the back. I'm going to be standing in a place. They got lights on me. They're going to bring you all in one at a time, groups if you want to come in groups and shit like that. Position yourselves around me. You're going to hear me say this over and over, so I'll say it here for the first time, and you'll be like, he said that in there. Get as close as you want to, touch whatever you need to. They're going to take a picture, and then you immediately have to move on because we have to get everyone behind you. So there will be a temptation to tell me some story or tell me something about something I've made that's meaningful to you. I appreciate that. I live for that. That's why I do this shit. But we don't have time for that tonight. So when the picture comes through, man, we'll be like, hey, we'll take a picture, and then you'll be gone, and somebody will replace you. That's not because I don't respect you or don't like you. We just want to make sure we get everybody in the room covered, all right? I'll see you out there. I'll be the one in the backwards hat. Thank you, kids.